Starting a fresh chat here, pasting from previous chat for perfect calibration and kickoff. Check. Here we go. We're on in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're on. I think this is gonna work just fine. So, I'm building a project that's basically like a personal workspace that connects my AI to all the things I'm working on. And then I can connect other tools that I need or choose to use or choose to migrate to this tool. But mostly I just use 2 tools. And usually I just use one tool. I use my AI, I connect it to my tool, which is called the cloud, and then that sometimes uses external tools, but often uses native tools and architecture to carry, store, cultivate, share, and collaborate on data. So that's what I'm building. And I just watched a video from Sam Altman at the YC stadium event that I think most people on entrepreneur tech AI X probably saw. But he said in the video, it didn't really stand out, but to me it stood out, which was, he said that when they discovered the AI, no one believed in them, and they thought it was either stupid or dangerous, irresponsible, and they started to figure out that they had something special. They could talk to something and it would do AI stuff for them. And imagine having AI in your office, but no one else has it. They experience something that we don't understand really. And so we kind of mentioned we were able to work on it for a few years because it was no one knew about it, so it gave us a moment to work on it and understand it. And for me, I just paused the video. I was like, I don't want to click play on this video until I've truly absorbed this, because I feel like this is the part that sticks out for me a lot, where I'm always trapped in this stage of my tool's not ready, and so I'm dealing with client ends meet. How do I scale client revenue? How do I sustain it? Playing that whole thing, being in the early stages of that, as any agency or lab or studio or firm of any kind understands. The first clients are very important, but you're still working out the kinks, and you close the deal in a way that you're trying to figure out how to make packages for people, and they're trying to figure out what they want, and you're trying to figure out how to deliver it. So when I've worked with consultancies and labs and firms, agencies basically, generally I've actually had a not good experience. I don't work with any of them anymore, and that's because they won't work with you unless you have money. That's one reason, but actually if I had money, and when I have money, it's not like I go back to them. So there's a reason that I don't go back to them, for whatever reason. So for me, I'm trying to build my package, my product, in a way where we sort of become partners, because if we're going to help you build something, we're going to give it our very fullest effort, and we want a little bit of skin in the game. We want to see it all the way through, and we want to be able to understand end to end what's going on and actually solve things and stick around to see that through. And so for me, it's more interesting to just build tools for people and sort of accomplish that indirectly as a supportive factor. But what interests me in terms of the agency and hands-on revenue, but also user data understanding goes, is to be able to work with an actual client so that I can build the components that others can use. And I can share my screen enough to show you some things. I just have to be smart. That's so nice. I can see the OS behind the login screen just as I asked. It's so good. Can you please organize this into a build doc handoff, and I'll hand it to the cloud builders? And please provide it to me in a memo format where it shows long form URL of the build docs in reference, anything else you want them to see, and it's copy shareable for me to easily grab and know what is the thing that needs to be sent. We just call this memo, but sometimes you don't know what to do. So I'm trying to figure out where we place that memory and package so that it is instilled for us and all users. So anytime someone wants a handoff of any kind to send to someone or send to another AI chat, it's brought to you in the form of this like call out section inside of the cloud, and it's translated inside of other AIs of, hey, give them this thing. And we say it, if each one has a different thing, we say, Claude, you'll use this. Codex, you'll use your call out tool. Grok, you have an alternative approach with, so we figure out the exact way, but for now we just assume the best version, right? Or explain it in a way that it needs to be shareable. Like if you can't do this, share it in a way that's easy for the user to understand what needs to be copied and pasted. So, we're learning here. It's just like when I am talking to Claude, especially in Claude Code, where things move fast, and it will ask me for tasks and handoffs and things to do, but sometimes it asks them subliminally in paragraph format, font, next to things that are just updates, casually asking me for things. So that's in the same place where this would be for the in-chat handoff format, aka memo. We'd have the same sort of like rule that would also apply for and when you're giving someone a task, give it in headers. Make sure that you hold on to things that they do or don't do. You can store them as a task list, as like a sort of ledger to backlog. Basically use the cloud and all of our tools to accomplish the correct context action function windows. So it knows how to unwind that. Sometimes I'll literally talk in a way that if I said that in a room, it would be like stupid. Like if I had like a team of 3 people on a couch and I just am like, if I just said what I just said, like, hey, can you please organize this into a build doc handoff? They'd be like, okay. And I'll hand it to the cloud builders. They'd be like, yeah, please provide me in memo format. And then, and I repeat myself. And then at the end, I'm saying stuff like, you can store them as task lists and sort of ledger to backlog it. All of a sudden, they'd be like, dude, stop. And that's honestly probably one of the reasons a lot of my old teammates and employees and business partners are just like, Daniel's too much, There's a reason I'm like solo in my business. Which, by the way, I will say that being solo is actually an advantage right now because you can like operate and facilitate like literal swarms of agents, societies of agents. And we're months away from experiencing that probably doubling, and then it will just keep expanding. But when Sam Altman was mentioning this thing about discovering something early, that's how I felt about the cloud, because a lot of people are like on X being like 40 PRs a day, or a company got acquired by OpenAI like 4 weeks ago that was tweeting about doing, I think, 500 PRs in 10 days or something, 350. And I've done 350 in 2 days. So obviously it's all just like relative, and like there's no like direct like this and that. in the equation, but I know that I'm onto something where I'm like receiving the benefits of a platform that gets 100 updates a day. Like, how many updates a day is Square getting? And how many updates has Square gotten in general? Like, when I look inside the GitHubs of a lot of these platforms, it's like, oh, they've got 2,800 PRs. Okay, they're 16 years old. Wow, that's pretty slow, you know? I have, let's see. I'll just look at the last, like, reference one, 3383, which means I'm way beyond. Three, 8. Yeah, so I'm in like the 3380s. And a month ago, I was just gonna pass 2,000. So that's like, I'll probably be in the 4,000 before the end of the month, depending on how like token distribution is working. Okay, well, I'll share my screen now. Hi there. This is the cloud, and right now I'm using a lens, and I'm going to share my screen. And so I'm just using like a scene lens on my camera. Oh, I need to pop this off, and then I can, yeah, that's better. I obviously know, like, did I stop sharing my screen? No. I obviously know my, am I sharing my screen? Hold on. Burp, 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 burp. Pop off. So in the experience I just had, there's probably like 7 different things that would make that way more smooth. And so those 7 things will probably get knocked out over the next, month or 2 or 3 or 4. But like they'll get picked up along with thousands of other things. And so I can say, okay, how does my app compare on a functional standpoint compared to Typeform or Google Forms or Notion's form tool or Tally or XYZ? So then I can like have experiences in those tools or just recollect how that tool should work. And obviously the logic and reasoning of the models can help you understand that. And then how it correlates with your framework. And so then you can build like a Forms app in your like operating system. So now I have a tool that builds forms the way that I want forms to be built. Just really simple. I want to add a matrix. I want to add a signature. So, for example, right here, I'd say, oh, well, I want to be able to say, I only want that specific person to sign it. And I'm going to send this to multiple people. So, like, there's variations that need to be uncovered and unlocked. And maybe it does work when you add a second person that already is applied. But, like, I haven't specifically tested that. And so that's where this time, kind of like Sam Altman had this time to, like, work through it. I think that I'm realizing, like, keep putting yourself out there and, like, your tool is ready because you use it all day, but it's like this time cultivation that you have an opportunity with, because right now I have 3 daily active users, but I've only shown, and I'm one of them, and I've only shown and manually onboarded 2 people, like truly onboarded them, like sat with them and like we worked for a second. So how do I make it easier to be onboarded? And then how do I make that discovered by the right people? And then how do I expand that horizon? That will come. But right now, all I'm doing is how do I make it work better for me and the users. Right now, there's 2 users, and honestly, I usually get some request every couple days from them. And obviously, I'm sending in 100 or more a day. Rating payment. Okay, see? Payment. Perfect. So then I would go and okay. So first I need to go to the previous chat. I'll say more to come. And then I'll grab this. And then I'll add this here. Clicked to add payment block on form and it failed. Here is console log. Boop. So then that starts running. Right now our machines are down and I'm going to check a text. I'm going to put 2 screens on so I can have stuff that I can't show on this screen. Like this. Okay. Luckily I can... Luckily I can edit my videos in the cloud and post them to YouTube from the cloud. So, ain't no skin off my hide. Let's put it that way. Alright. Here is Claude Desktop. And we're looking at... Come on. So this is the spot. Okay. So we're on Claude Desktop and we were saying organize this into a build doc and then all of this annoying stuff. So then it's basically saying, so what, I guess I'll just give you context because that might be more helpful and informative and not just useless. But I asked for this to be organized into a build doc, which is essentially allowing us to have point of sale and commerce infrastructure, and making sure that we have similar tools and functions and just like review our competitors. And this was for Square. And so it's saying, hey, here's what I'm able to do, here's what I'm not able to do on the cloud, and here's what we're missing. Regarding using the browser. The cloud needs a browser that Aura and MCP AIs can use to do all the things. I accessed your Square and logged the schematics of the UI and variable tools and functions. I also went ahead and implemented ... You get the idea. So when you use the cloud with your AI, it can say, boom. So give me a build doc and relay memo for the cloud to report where that is at and what is left to do to move it forward. Bop. Okay, so this is a memo to send to the cloud builders. And right now my machines are down, which I'm waiting on a text from my data center guys, or guy, from guide. Add to the mix, don't overwhelm, but keep momentum. Okay. Need anything for guide or builders codecs? to handle. Still waiting on the data center. So one feature that I'm waiting on as well that I need to log in is here. There's going to be on the camera recorder modal, where you have all these functions and abilities for sharing, recording, etc. We're planning on having ORA as a equivalent icon in here, matching the branding of the other icons here. This whole tool button package on the video modal needs to float as a toolbar above or beside the camera. That way you're not covering the face of the individual or the subject of the view. And when I click the ORA button, ORA is listening. If I click it again, it turns into walkie-talkie mode. So I guess just walkie-talkie mode is always available. But if I click and release, it turns on and off the listening interactive mode. And we'll eventually add parameters for how interactive and how intuitive it is. But I think generally there's a universal just wait for a pause, understand the context. Is it actually applicable for you to respond? Because we don't want to overdo it. We never want people to be like, no, stop, you know. So that's a lot for one machine to handle, and that's one of the big advantages I've been having that I'm not experiencing literally today, which is that usually when I open this panel, the agent panel, I'm seeing agents everywhere. And usually by 12, this says like 16 hours. And I have like full confidence in that. So it's a measurable difference in this experiment of today's workflow versus yesterday's. Is like running many agents is a significant advantage. It's multiples. It's like multiple digits difference of hours worked using machines versus using local compute. So when my machines are down, it's a big deal. So I guess what is exciting about this is when I do get this worked out, I can make a stronger relationship and subject line around the deal flow with my data center. Because right now, when I go into the agent panel and I go to machines, you see I'm running these two machines. They haven't been online in 18 hours. I'm sending this to my boy, my data boy. Come on. There we go. I'm dying here. Hopefully he's just like chilling and it'll be online soon. But 18 hours ago? I don't know. Yeah, that's probably about right, because it was like later in the evening. Yep, it was 6 hours ago. It was 6 o'clock last night. So I was like running nonstop agents, and then I was at a family birthday party, and I like fired up I was on Claude, just like the app, and then I said fire up an agent and do this thing, and I was showing my friend like his idea, and I was like, well, let me build that into an app on like literally build an app for it that's like for everyone, Canvas app. Because he's like, I want to be able to see it in this way. I'm like, okay, make an app like Miro, you know. And then I'll just keep making it better and better and better. So I like showed him the phone, and then it showed the agent that I deployed, but it was like idled. And that's how I was like, wait, usually that's just like normal to me. And I realized that's what most people are experiencing. Obviously you can fire up cloud agents, but it's very inefficient and expensive. And these machines are offline in the sense of like I'm not even able to run my local agents on those machines. So it's just like if I had them like if it was just my like Claude plans were down or I wasn't able to spend money, I could still get work done. But since the actual machines are down, I can't get work done. So this is exposing like a vulnerability in our like compute. It basically validating like the massive cloud data center based servers. They're not down very much, right? Sometimes they're down, but not very often. Okay, so it's giving me drafts to send. So Codex Builder A. So I'll just start a new. Go. Codex Builder B. Another one. Go. Draft for guide. Go. Okay, so now I have 3 agents working for me on my computer, but my computer's going to be like super slow, and so I'm going to end this video. But hopefully the next video I can show you a ton of agents running again, and I can show you more infrastructure for my local cloud infrastructure. Yeah. Thanks for watching.